Ukraine destroys a convoy of Russian armored vehicles using high-mobility artillery rocket systems, Himars, supplied by the US. We can see the Russian armored vehicles in line being exploded by the Ukrainian soldiers, striking them with Himars rocket system. According to the military TV, about 30 Himars are now being used by Ukraine to destroy the Russian armored vehicles after it was supplied by the US to Ukraine, leaving no space for the Russian soldiers to escape unhurt. Unaware of the assault, the long-range rockets, the Himars, explode on top of the Russian convoy, destroying them in totality. The missile system is capable of firing from about 50 miles away from the front line of fighting. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov was extremely glad at the arrival of 4 more missile systems from the United States that were pledged to Ukraine on Tuesday. He said these were 4 additional high-accuracy and long-range Himars that have helped Ukraine to reduce drastically the high number of Russian artillery attacks on Ukraine. Ukraine had a definite advantage as Himars proved extremely successful in Ukraine's fight against Russia. The rocket system is comprised of a 5-ton truck which can fire long-range guided missiles. It is estimated that there are approximately 30 Himars now being used by the Ukraine following the supply from the US. Almost about a dozen of missiles were destroyed by a number of explosions occurring in the battlefield. In a social media post, a user writes that the Ukrainians love Himars as they are very effective and make the Russians scramble to protect themselves from the long-range Himars attacks. The new M30A1 guided rockets are technically different from the M31A1A2 rockets that were previously used in the conflict. The new long-range rockets have a warhead that strikes precisely on large targets of 85 meters. The missile, made up of 182,000 tungsten ball bearings, has a range of 57.2 miles. It covers a wide area to damage soft targets such as soft-skinned vehicles. The missile is very effective in pushing back the enemy and removing opposition by exploding and raining ball bearings down on its target. The missiles have a capability to destroy and kill the enemy and clear about half a square mile of land in a single shot. These have already been used in Ukraine. We can see the weapon in action in a testing environment as emerged on social media that show the level of damage it can cause in slow motion. It can discharge ball bearings in a cluster and scatter across the target, burning holes through metal and sending shrapnel flying in the air. With the Himars, the Ukrainian military has the ability to shatter large enemy troops, destroy trench systems and make pathways for Ukrainians to advance. To strengthen Ukrainian forces, the delivery of Himars by the US is set to get going on their counter-offensive against Russia. According to the United States, more than about $16.8 billion worth of security aid has already been provided by Washington to Ukraine during the war. Nevertheless, in view of Monday's attacks, and in order to quickly provide NASAMS air defense systems to Ukraine, the United States said it was speeding up the movement of the same. The announcements were made as explosions rocked the Russian-occupied southern towns of Kherson and Mariupol, and air raid sirens blared over Kyiv on Wednesday morning. Major escalation in the conflict in South Ukraine after Russia unleashed a barrage of missiles over cities and towns across the nation left the people of Ukraine in tremendous fear. Russians striking missiles throughout the night destroyed buildings in the regions of Zaporizhia. Alexander Stark, regional governor, informed through messaging on Telegram app that there have been no reports of any casualty in the region. The Russian forces were forced out of several areas around the Russian-occupied towns in Kherson region. The Ukrainian military claimed the ouster despite Russia's heavy shelling and bombings. The Ukrainian forces forced the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for Moscow to open talks with the United States or Turkey to end the war only through its launch of continued and rapid counter-offensives. Ukraine shared only a few details of its recent military gains while they are underway. In eastern Ukraine, the Russian troops are trying catching up under a continued and intense barrage of Himars missiles. According to the military TV, this situation is described by an expert as Turkey shoot. The M142 high mobility artillery rocket system Himars is a light multiple rocket launcher which was earlier deployed in Ukraine in June 2022.